Good evening. Welcome to Lost and Found. All who are welcome to join us today. And if anyone comes on late, we will welcome them in at this point. My name's Shawna Steinigal, and I am the co-moderator of the Presbyterian Peace Fellowship. And I have taken a great interest and love in the Lost and Found worshiping community. And this evening, we are welcomed by Joanne Dufour and Jim Minista from Westminster Presbyterian Church in Olympia, Washington, and they will be leading our service for us. Joanne and Jim, do you have any words of entry you'd like to say as I figure out the calling up your slides for the service?
It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you, and I thank you for this opportunity.
We've titled our presentation "A Paradox for the Christian at Christmas." And of course, the paradox is, while we're all giving presents to each other, how do we, as finite creatures, give anything to God, who has given us everything we have?
As many are still in the throes of shopping for gifts, cards, and food, remembering those to contact on your Christmas list and trying to stay sane, we would like to consider what the season is really all about and how to include God in our plans. We also wish to thank Reverend John Deere of the Beatitude Center and comedian Mel Brooks, who had the courage to play the role of God in one of his famous movies, for their inspiration in creating the service.
Of course, one of the things we can easily turn to is God's own shopping list, which is a little bit like this hymn. And what we'd like you to do is put yourself on mute and say this with me. What does the Lord require of you? What does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. I pity you if God is on your Christmas list. What does a finite being get for an infinite being who presumably has everything and most of us want something new each year? Let's think about this.
Well, don't look at me. I can't come up with something for my Uncle Al, who loves fishing, has virtually everything for fishing, and who would be disappointed if you got him something totally unrelated to fishing. He might settle for something for his boat, but not a book about fish or about cooking fish, or even about asking somebody to come out early in the morning and sit with him silently in a boat on a nearby pond, communing with what's left of the nightly stars, the bugs that crawl inside of flannel shirts, biting areas that no bug has bitten before.
I'd like to focus on the list again as it's contained in this hymn. What does the Lord require of you? What does the Lord require of you? To do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with your God. But does that give us a notion of what he wants?
Well, in this following section, Jim will be the voice of God, speaking from above, and I will just be me. But let me say, dear Lord, speaking of presents, please help me to understand yours. What did you get me for my birthday?
Oh, that's a little presumptuous. Let me begin with a selection from Luke 12, chapter 12, verse 7, about why even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, you are of more value than many sparrows. Start counting these good things I gave you. Remember the hair that fell to the floor of the salon when you got a haircut last week? I numbered every single one of them.
You care about that?
I do. It's a small way of saying I care for you, for everything about you. There's no need to fear, for I am watching over you, every detail of your life. Now, after all that, what can you say about how you've cared for me in the meantime? Have you sent even one little card to me for the ground beneath your feet, or even for your feet themselves, or for your mother, or Johnny Greenbean?
You want me to send to you, God, a letter with the address heaven? What will the post office clerk do with that?
To clarify it, let me explain a little bit more with the words from my son in Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 to 10. Now, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Here then are some suggestions for God, from God, for Christmas. As we review these, we're going to ask everyone here to pick one that resonated with you last week and tell us about it. You know, when John Deere writes about this, he compares the Beatitudes to the Ten Commandments. He says they are the new commandments and tells you about what thou shalt do, as the other commandments tells you what you shouldn't do. These tell you what you should do. Thou shalt love, thou shalt make peace, thou shalt be just, thou shalt forgive, thou shalt be totally nonviolent, thou shalt be as compassionate as God. So as we review them, pick one that resonated with you the last week and tell us about it. This time, as we think about that, I'll read the first part, and would you please join me in reading the end of it, the column on the right. So, blessed are the poor in spirit,
For theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek,
For
for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart,
For they
they
will
see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Blessed are those who persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So now we'll pause and listen to what these stir up in your mind as something that happened in the preceding week.
If there's nobody out there right now to come up with an example, I'll try and convince you that I'm a peacemaker. Hopefully it will work. I belong to an organization, I started a church, where we try to convince people that they shouldn't just pray for peace in the Middle East. They should get up on their duff and write their congressmen and senators, because actually our taxpayers are paying for every baby there that's shot in the head, or child that's shot in the street or starved. the Israelis are getting their war money directly from us. It's time we've got to make a change. So part of that change is I think people need to get more information. So every day I look through YouTube and I look for facts about the war that people might not know. And I publicize it and I send it out to them and occasionally get responses directly. But one of the ones I used was of the Israeli soldiers who bragged about how they had broken into a home, wore the women's clothing, and laughed when the bombs were dropped on it. Hopefully that's peacemaking today.
So I'm square enough that I needed to look in my calendar to review my past week, but I have a very real answer now. Today is December 21st, sometimes known as the obviously the winter solstice, sometimes known as the longest night of the year. Different communities that are represented on the call this evening certainly can say whether they have this in their community. Certain communities observe Homeless Persons Memorial Day either on the longest night of the year or on a date somewhere close to then, in order to remember people who have died during the past year, who either died while they were homeless on the streets or in another situation, or people who died in the past year who have experienced homelessness during their life. And it's always I can speak for Philadelphia, obviously way too large a number of people, but this is the program from the other evening. It's a beautiful image on there of a hand holding a light, and the theme of the gathering, this was on Thursday the 18th, every life is a universe, which I don't know if people are familiar with that phrase, but apparently it comes from Jewish tradition, just that all our lives are so bound up that there are no individuals. Every life is touching other people, and everything we do touches somebody else. So definitely, during the past week, I had the opportunity to remember that blessed are those who mourn, because there is a lot of death in the world, and we try to continue to go on for the next day.
And I was thinking about choosing the option of the peacemaker, but then as I look over the list, I want to select those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. I had the pleasure of hosting a man who for years has dedicated his life to correcting the wrongness of the massacre at My Lai. My Lai was a location in Vietnam where the U.S. military felt that they were harboring people from the Viet Cong. They were harboring the enemy. So the order was given to go into the village and kill everyone in the village. Well, the village really was a village of older men who couldn't, older men and women who obviously couldn't fight. They had passed the age of fighting. The women who were obviously not drafted by their army, and the children. And so they were shot in cold blood. And this so affected this man that he said years later, 20 years later, I have to do something. It's on my conscience. I have to do something. I thirst for righteousness because we were responsible for that. And it was wrong. It was totally wrong that we did that. So he went to My Lai, and he has subsequently garnered enough cooperation and money to be able to build 3 schools now, to be able to build the wells that people were asking, to work with an organized team of people there, just to be able to make their life just a little bit better. So he is a peacemaker, a live peacemaker, but he was hungering and thirsting, and still is doing so for the righteousness of correcting a massacre. So, Jim, slide 12? No.
Obviously, Carol is someone who's joined us. Pause in case she wants to share anything, and then we will probably go on.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, I will click us on to the next part.
Okay, you can read now. Well,
The other person is not gonna give an example.
I guess not. No, she
Okay.
just invited them through, so
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you all for your wonderful thoughts and reflections. Now, please join with me in singing the words of the hymn. What does the Lord require of you? Put yourself on mute and sing along with us.
And Joanne and Jim, can you confirm that we're looking at the screen? It's black right now, that I'm going to start the music on. Is that what we're looking at?
This is not, no, this is the one that starts with,
Yeah, but I have the right. We have the right thing.
yeah, this is right,
Okay.
yeah.
And we hear it.
Okay.
Everyone here.
What does the Lord require of you? What does the Lord require of you? Justice, kindness, walk humbly with your God, to seek justice and love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. What does the Lord require of you? What does the Lord require of you? Justice, kindness, what does walk humbly with your God? To seek justice and love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. To seek justice and love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. To seek justice and love kindness, and walk humbly with your God.
That's kind of a cool shot.
Jim, you're on, I think.
Joanne.
Oh, as God waits for something appropriate from each of us, in light of the words of this song, what fruitful actions can you do in the coming weeks as further Christmas gifts to the Lord? So let's think about these Beatitudes again, but think about turning them into steps, acting steps, real live action steps. So you want some ideas to guide you, because we're hoping that you could plan to do this in the following week. This would mean translating the spiritual ideals, like being poor in spirit or meek or peacemakers, into some kind of daily action, such as practicing humility or showing compassion or seeking justice, forgiving others, serving those in need. Maybe some creative project that you wanted to undertake, like making a collage or writing a poem, some action. John Deere would say that there are no boundaries for nonviolence if you make a commitment to be nonviolent. So he starts with no anger. See if you can stop being angry, because anger is the source of violence. There's no lust, no divorce, no violent retaliation. Think about forgiving someone that you were angry at. Obviously, no war. Maybe you could take an action against the wars that are going on. No judging others, no condemning others. So now we'll ask you, this time you're thinking of the Lord, so the image will be one of the sky, but we'll ask you to try to help us with some action that you might be taking in cooperation, in coordination with the Beatitudes. So, Jim, I wonder if you would like to
Yeah,
start
I'm
us off.
going to give you an example. We belong to a group called the Pacific.
Advocates against.
No, I was thinking of PASS.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Palestinian Action of the South Sound,
yeah.
which is a community-wide organization. It's not just restricted to our church as advocates are. But we'll meet with maybe 50, 60 other people tomorrow night, and we'll discuss what we can do in the community for lightening the load of people who might be persecuted for their differences. We kind of branch out also into helping immigrants not get picked up by ICE. And also we program people to get information about both the ICE function and also the people in our community who have been affected. Tomorrow night, we'll hear from the wife of a guy who joined our military over 20 years ago, and he became disabled. He's now a disabled veteran, but they've taken him into detention, and they intend to kick him out of the Army and out of the country. A very congenial guy, very congenial family, but he hasn't yet become a citizen, although he's on a track to. So it's kind of a mixture of the two worlds. Why are we picking on our own military in this immigration problem?
And Chanel, would you like to share again?
I someone was coming in. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't having a conversation with them without being muted. So I'll share again what I shared this with Joanne and Jim. Before we started the worship service formally, just how much this exercise reminds me. I work with a congregation in Philadelphia called the Welcome Church, which is a congregation made up of people experiencing street homelessness. And we worship outside on the Ben Franklin Parkway, which I like to make obscure geographic references that people might not know, but we worship outside, basically in a park on the street side. And part of that service every time we gather is a time of offering, which is not surprising for a worship service. But what we focus in on, that we are asking in a time of offering, is the affirmation that God has given us all gifts. There is no one who does not have gifts to share. And just asking, what is it from your life that you want to be intentional about giving back to God or sharing with somebody else during the week? And what is it like that you're either something you've been struggling with for a long time, or something that you want to take on, as a new thing for the first time during the week. So it's neat that we're doing that same exercise here together, just what it is. I'll just state that obviously one thing I need to take on in my life is just less anxiety for the uh, we're in busy times and we're in, times with multiple troubles, and just trying to, you know, maintain a certain calmness and such is something I feel would be my direction maybe for the next week.
And would either of our guests like to share something they might want to do next week?
We live in an area that's close to a fairly new homeless shelter that was a hotel. And that shopping area that's around it has become, a lot of homeless people who are housed in that shelter, of course, have been, asking for donations and that kind of thing. So I always try to do when someone approaches me, but this week we'll try to do more, see what we can, and maybe even start conversations and get to know them a little bit.
Well, that
Well,
sounds
where do you,
wonderful.
just
Yeah.
curious, where do you live?
Lacey, Washington.
Oh, okay. All right. More West Coasters. Okay.
And Bob, would you like to say anything?
No, Carol's on top of this. I'm not. I'm bad
Okay.
guy.
Well, when I think about our actions in with Gaza, Jim will always remind us, just like this morning at the service, we heard about all the wars going on in the world, and the people suffering from wars in the world. But what makes Gaza different is that we are complicit. It's our weapons, it's our guns, And how do you stop that? That's my tax money at work. I'm not happy with that. And so so how can I help that? Well, this group that Jim helped formed in our church is Advocates Against Palestinian Genocide. We've already visited 2 of our legislators, asking for them to stop foreign aid to Israel, especially our military aid, because they're using
Thank
that.
you.
And so, but we have the second senator, and so that's my goal for this week, to try to see if we can get a meeting with her. And, but then there's that business about no anger. And I find myself being angry. And John Deere is saying, if you really are going to be nonviolent, see if you can try to turn that anger into something more positive. Either try to talk to the person that might be offending you and causing you to be angry, and reaching out in a positive way, so that you can reconcile your differences or just reach reconciliation. So I think I wanna try to do that one too. So yeah, because there are a lot of things that get you angry. You watch the news and you get angry. You kind of say, okay, what can I do with that one? But you can, when it's necessary, you can let people know, especially if they have political issues, that you want to resist, and you want to resist creatively, but not speaking out or not resisting means you're complicit. Silence is complicit. So that's the thing that I have to want to internalize.
Some of our research has shown that we're really walking against the stream, swimming uphill. Every representative in both the House and the Senate receives money from a group that very, very much favors the Israelis. And it's kind of hard when you meet with the senator or his staff is usually what we get, not to be angry, because we don't have a great vast sum of money. We don't have, although the tide is turning, we don't have a chance to offer them thousands of voters to help them change their minds. So the reaction to us has so far been to minimize our effect, however sincerely we frame it. They just managed to exclude us from their agendas. But they'll give us a meeting, and that'll be it. And hopefully it'll stay buried a while. But we want to stir up every district, every state, to say the people are getting morally weary of breaking their own rules. We are not to be the people killing children, starving families, breaking every building down in front of them. No, we're supposed to be helping to stop the bloodshed. And that's very, very hard because it's been going on for years, very many years. And so if anything, we need just to encourage each other to withstand the flow. Anytime we talk to somebody, they say, oh no, you can't criticize Israel. Well, we think you can, and we should, but it's not going to happen overnight.
We chose a song to think about how we want to think about the world, even about countries that have been labeled enemy countries or enemies in certain situations. And so please join us with this. You probably have heard the song before, but join with this group. I think you'll enjoy singing, and the lyrics are wonderful. You'll see the lyrics on this.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and wide. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight gleams on clover heath and corn. But other lands are silent and clover, and skies are everywhere as mine. Oh, hear my song, O God of the nations, a song of peace for the land. May truth and freedom come to every nation. May peace abound where strife has raged so long, that each may seek to love and live together.
Okay, Jim?
Well, that's about the most inspiring thing you can hear. But again, playing along the line that Christmas isn't just for us. It's not a USA #1 situation. And we searched around and found this song from Thailand, sung by some young children who are as cute as ever. And we'd like to let you hear it.
They couldn't see their grandmother, and they felt badly about not being able to see her. So they made this video for Grandma with a traditional Thai song. So I think you'll enjoy the
Hello, I'm Emily in Thailand. My friends and I would like to sing for you a traditional Thai song. It's called Loi Glatong. We sing it on the night of the full winter moon. It's to wish you a very happy Christmas. Now I'll speak in Thai. ก่อนอื่นหนูขอบอกทุกคนเกี่ยวกับพี่นุ่นนะคะ พี่นุ่นจำเป็นต้องย้ายจากกรุงเทพกลับไปที่บ้านต่างจังหวัดทางภาคอีสานไกลมากๆเพราะพี่นุ่นต้องกลับไปช่วยยายดูแลวัวที่บ้านดังนั้นเราจึงไม่สามารถฉลองคริสต์มาสที่จะถึงนี้ร่วมกันได้พวกเราจึงมารวมตัวกันและทำวิดีโอนี้ขึ้นเพื่อที่จะบอกอำลาและบอกพี่นุ่นว่าเราจะเป็นเพื่อนที่ดีต่อกันตลอดไปวันเพ็ญเดือน12น้ำก็นองเต็มตลิ่งเราทั้งหลายชายหญิงสนุกกันจึงวันลอยกระทงวันเพ็ญเดือน12น้ำก็นองเต็มตลิ่งเราทั้งหลายชายหญิงสนุกกันจึงวันลอยกระทงลอยลอยกระทงลอยลอยกระทงลอยกระทงกันแล้วก็เทน้องแก้วออกมาลำวงวันลอยกระทงรำวงวันลอยกระทงบนจะส่งให้แล้วสุดใจบนจะส่งให้เราสุขใจวันแห่เดือน12น้ำก็นองเต็มตลิ่งเราทั้งหลายชายหญิงสนุกกันจริงวันลอยกระทงวันแห่เดือน12น้ำก็นองเต็มตลิ่งเราทั้งหลายชายหญิงสนุกกันจริงวันลอยกระทงลอยลอยกระทงลอยลอยกระทงลอยกระทงกันแล้วก็เชิญน้องแก้วออกมาลำวงวันลอยกระทงรำวงวันลอยกระทงบุญจะส่งให้เราสุดใจบุญจะส่งให้เราสุขใจถึงเพื่อนๆทุกคนที่ชมวิดีโอนี้จากพวกเรานุ่นก้าวน็อตเค้กและเอมิลี่ขอส่งมอบความรักและปรารถนาดีสุขสันต์วันคริสต์มาสค่ะสุขสันต์วันคริสต์มาส means happy Christmas in Thai stay safe Merry Christmas
Thank you for joining us this evening. Wishing you all a very pleasant and happy Christmas.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to see you with us, and I hope that your Christmas will be special and that maybe that words from the Beatitudes will guide you, will help guide you. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see each other again, I'm sure. All right, I will, I guess click end, and I assume that will end, obviously end recording and end our service. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, you too. And thanks a million for your invaluable help. The music worked perfectly.
Thank you for clear directions. Bye-bye.